That's so good, Eve. Oh my god.
Hello, and welcome to Beast Fables.
Sorry.
The game where we play as animals, and we have fun, and I get to hang out with my friends. And if you don't like it, bite me.
No.
This is now a combat encounter. The music got really intense just as we started.
Pride is the final boss.
My name is Brian. I use he, him pronouns, and I run Dungeons on a Dime. I made Adventures on a Dime the game that we're playing. We are playing in the world of the Bristley Woods, a place in Scotland filled with beasts that can talk to each other and form little guilds and societies and have fun.
Yeah.
We are rejoining the game that we left off in December because Christmas and solstice and traveling are a thing. I am joined today by Eve, Ver, and Atlanta, who will introduce themselves in that order, I've decided. Eve, please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, my name is Eve, and I will be playing Thistle, the lizard of questionable medical repute.
Ooh, questionable medical repute. Sounds like you didn't get your license.
I do. They have a medical license. They're just an idiot.
You know, it's a license, but it's like the E is backwards and it's handwritten.
No, it just says I can
That's
do
just how
whatever
things
I
are.
want.
The hold's all burnt down. We don't have proper licenses anymore. I made this
my
one
God.
myself.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're
It's like shoddily laminated. It's got bubbles.
yeah.
Hydrating charcoal on a leaf.
Mm-hmm.
I am a real dog.
Ver, do you want to say hello?
I would like that. Hello, everybody. My name is Ver. I use they, them pronouns. And in today's game, I will be playing, as usual, Balthazar of Blueberry Pond. He is a Toad Knight. Sorry, I don't know why I started saying and, like I have more to add after that. He is Toad Knight, and he is happy to be here, as am I, even if I'm still kind of waking up at 12 p.m.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're also playing Icky Lucky, so you're like a multiplayer.
I guess, yeah, occasionally I take on the guise of Icky Lucky.
Mm-hmm. Who is a lightning bug who lights the way
Lightning,
and is
yes,
a bug.
Yes. Yeah.
And last but definitely not least, actually the tallest among us, Atlanta.
Hello. I was about to say good morning. No. Hello, everybody. I'm Atlanta. I use she, her pronouns, and today I will be reprising my role as Pipistrel, our nomadic little sad bat. Who is now an edgelord, apparently, because I've decided.
Oh my god,
that.
are you on a sad batical from your duties as a messenger?
Oh, you funny little boy.
funny man.
You hilarious little rapscallion. You. Yeah.
Oh,
Vibe is weird today.
Recounting our story from last episode, y'all left Grinder's Nest having willingly or voluntarily kidnapped one bat named Hayden from his sister, Hayden being a bat with a broken wing who you had previously rescued from a house fire caused by a lightning storm, and who was then very sneakily ousted from his hometown of Grinder's Nest by the 4-man badger who saw him as useless and didn't really want him around because he's an artist. You are traveling towards Summit. You're traveling towards Summit, a city built into an ancient Titan mine at the top of a large hill that overlooks the Crossing Lock, the southern region of the Bristley Woods, as we can kind of see here. It's all like watery and rivery and stuff. You've been traveling on the high road, and you are on your second day of your 3-day journey. The first day went not uneventful. You saw a herd of deer, which Pipistrel drew, which delighted Hayden and Balthazar, and intrigued Thistle for the anatomical correctness of deer.
Very impressive.
And managed to share different conversations about what it's like to be a bat, where it's like to live, and what the landscape is like, your own ambitions and goals. On your second day, a little wearier, having slept on the road, or in a little cave you found, and then moving your way on, you encountered two beasts by the side of the road who warned you of trouble ahead. They were a stoat named Keir and a crossbill named Moina. They warned you that they had seen a group of ne'er-do-wells, seemingly a badger, a cat, and a frog, further up ahead, with pretensions of robbing and or eating travellers.
That's a yikes for me, Captain.
That's not epic.
That is
They
not,
advised... So they advised that they were waiting... So their story is they're waiting for some friends to come up from Shrewsbury, which I have pinged on the map, and they are waiting away from this sort of like robbery point, and they advise that you take this more wild route, the kind of light blue route here, to shortcut around this danger. Heavily suspicious, Pipistrel flew with Moina the crossbill to scout ahead and see if the trouble was still there. Having not spotted any danger, they flew down, inspected the site of a robbery where they found mud, blood, and signs of things being dragged into the grasses. Whoever was robbed or attacked here, the attackers and the robbee are gone. It was at this point that Moina, with panic in her voice, turned to fly back towards the group of friends, Keir and also Balthazar and Hayden and Thistle, worried that perhaps the bandits had moved ahead and somehow not been spotted. That is what we got up to. So we now have two places we can start our story, and I'm going to let the players to decide. Do we want to start with Pipistrel, or do we want to start with Thistle and Balthazar?
Oh, good question.
I think it's more dramatic if we start with Pipistrel.
Not to put you on the spot, Atlanta, but yes.
I am perfectly happy to be the dramatic guinea pig, as it very much were. So, Brian, can I clarify? So I am, like, here on the map? Am I saying
Yeah.
that? Okay,
No.
No?
You're at the blue strike. In fact, you know what? I'm going to take us to a new drawing area. Blam.
I was just thinking how I would love a fresh canvas.
Fresh canvas.
Or more beautiful drawings.
So
Like
the map there
Balthazar.
is accurate to a point. Yes, we have people that can fly in the air, but it's hard to draw and fly in the air at the same time. So roughly, if this is the curvature of the road, sorry whoever's drawing that, I'm now taking over.
Okay.
If our friends are here, where it's kind of pinky, then you are sort of further ahead on the track, maybe a 10-minute fly further up. Now, this isn't, like, accurate to scale. It's just to be really clear. Like, you're ahead, and you are... But you're not near summit by any stretch, if that makes sense.
Also, remind me, is this stretch of road is kind of, like, out in the open as well, so there's not that much, like, tree cover or anything?
There's no tree cover, but there is... because it's sort of like a slow incline on a hill that is very large and round. There are mugs being pinged by spoons. There are bits of brush and moss and bush and brush. Some of which are frosty, others are boggy and wet. It's sort of like it doesn't look very deep, but it's deceptive, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. If you've ever gone hiking, you've stepped in something and then gone up to your knee, like that's the kind of terrain you're looking at. So really,
I've done that multiple
it's kind of like
times.
Marshy, boggy grasses, and has an element of danger. Anything could be hiding.
For a wee small bat, then probably best not that I go trampling around in the mud with my ridiculously silly small legs. Okay, well that's fine because I just wanted to know because if I did look back, I don't know how well I'd be able to see the others on the road, but if they're not covered by trees, I could probably see them. Maybe? I don't know if they'd be able to see them.
Yeah. I think you could fly a short distance and start to see the space where they are, if they're still there.
Okay, that's fair. Remind me of the name of the crossbill. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten their name.
Moina.
Moina, okay.
Yeah, Moina. And Moina is, I think at this moment, because we're kind of like slowing time, Moina is in the process of like starting to fly up in the air back towards where you've come from.
Okay. I don't know what would be the best thing to do. I think last time did we clarify that like we found kind of signs of like destruction, as it were.
Yes, something
Okay.
violent happened on the road. Something was dragged off of the road, and I'm going to draw in a different color. The direction the thing was dragged, I'm going to mark in a pale blue, was this way.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so towards the path that they want us to take.
Oh.
Incidentally, yes. If this is like the kind of the
Incidentally.
shortcut they wanted you to take, and this is towards like Summit. Oh, I can't really draw with the mouse because I am not dexterous.
I see some sussy baka stuff happening here.
Excuse me?
Sorry, I've watched too much internet.
Oh lord.
Let's just
It is
breeze
GDQ week, so it's.
let's just breeze part my complete and utter disgrace. I'm back. Get back to the game. I think being the sort of suspicious, but also this kind of newfound sort of independence that Pipistrel has suddenly decided that she has. I think she'd look back in the direction of like where they're coming from. Is Moina going to head back to the party?
Yes, Moira is flying mostly directly, so like clipping the path a bit, but it's flying like in this direction.
Yeah, okay. I think Pip, like if she can see like drag marks of someone or something being dragged away, I think she is going to follow along. She probably won't be flying that high though. Maybe I'm trying to think, sort of in beast sort of feet.
Well, we don't have to worry about. Like, the vibe is you're flying lower to the ground, because you have, yesterday you did see red kites in the sky, so you know that there are big birds around. Yeah,
so I think she'll sort of watch Moina off, but I think she's like, no, I'm gonna fly ahead and see what's what, and just see, like, what's going on. If she has to fly away, she's gotten out of, tight spaces before, and aerial battles before, so... Let's hope I roll well.
So, what are you doing then? You let Moina fly off, and it's going to be maybe 5-10 minutes before she darts back towards the group.
I think.
What are you doing?
I think she's going to look closely at the tracks, kind of see the direction that they go, and then just sort of drift along the drag marks as far as they go, I guess.
You will have to land every now and then because you can't really hover as a bat.
No,
you're good at like flapping and darting and like little hops and flaps and stuff like that, or you can fly.
I think it's going to be. She's going to have to go back down to the ground to check what's going on.
The question is basically, do you fly fast or do you hop slowly?
I think hop slowly.
Okay. This sounds like you are using your senses to be very aware of the space you're moving through, and also you're aware of danger, so it feels like it's going to be a cunning roll to see how well you're able to like track what's going on and also keep yourself unnoticed. Is there anything you want to try and tag for that kind of check?
May I tag my following tracks skill from my scout job?
How relevant! Yes, you can have advantage.
Yay! Thank you.
Ooh, a 3 and a 7. I feel like you are doing your best to like land only on one foot, or like sort of like land, but only for sort of like to kind of hop and then get a bit more like air again. So you're not really staying in one spot or like landing and then getting like bogged down in the cold wet of the earth here. You follow the tracks, and they. So, I'll let you decide. I love letting players decide stuff. Is it a body being dragged, or is it something large like a chest being dragged, or a box?
Oh God. What a question.
What do you think is being dragged?
I am gonna say... I think maybe it's like supplies because it doesn't. I don't think I don't think there's any like scratch marks or claw marks or paw marks or whatever on the ground indicating that maybe somebody was like still fighting to not get dragged away. So maybe this was like a supply sort of hustle and they stole stuff from beasts who then potentially got away or didn't. I don't know.
It's a chest with a body inside.
Yeah. It's
The
a sack.
supplies.
They are the supplies now.
The supplies are bones.
Yeah. Your choice was an illusion.
So it's a crate, a large crate, and you can tell because a splinter with a fragment of paint has kind of chipped off on a rock that was underneath some moss that's been like dragged, and you can tell because the moss is kind of like torn, and even though it's slowly getting its shape back as that springy moss does, it's kind of still got those drag marks and bits that have been torn through it, and also it has, what's the word, like that fragment of wood with that paint in. So yeah, you confirm that's what it is, and it seems to be going, the tracks kind of lead to, I'm gonna say about, hang on, let's pick the right color. They get to about here. And at this point, the box is picked up, and I'm going to have you make another cunning roll for me to see if you can still follow the tracks.
Okay.
Whatever is being dragged has been moved more significantly now.
Oh, okay. Am I allowed to tag something, or...?
Yes. But
Okay,
it's going to be another cunning roll.
Right, okay. May I tag my... Ooh. May I tag my unassuming presence to kind of sort of ferret around the ground and look for little bits and pieces of clue, maybe more splinters, maybe more scratch marks, but sort of small bat crawling along the ground, not making much noise. Do not.
It'll be a straight roll, but you'll
Okay.
do so without making disruption in the environment.
Awesome.
Tagging Scrabble in dirt.
Oh no!
Ooh,
Oh, no.
patient. You barely managed to pull it off, but not without consequence.
I should have tackled Scrabble in dirt.
Okay. You follow the tracks a little bit this way. And again, this isn't to scale, this is just for, like, drama. But you follow a little bit away from the party, and you find a little beaten down area of grass and brush that's kind of partially hidden by bush, where you find several boxes, clearly from different origins because they're different sizes. Some of them have guild crests on that you recognize, of things that have been stolen and hidden. You also find there are lots of tracks on the ground of large feet and smaller feet, paws, and you recognize the crate that had the scrap of paint. You recognize the color. It's a guild crest of all beaters. And now that you have all of these crates together, there is an underlying smell of like preserved dry foods, like kind of like haze and grains and stuff like that. That you can kind of just smell because it kind of has like a musty air to it, you know?
Yeah.
So you know that the box has recently just been dropped here and it's got mud and water on it, still sort of like dripping off. But there's no one here.
Which way do the paw prints of varying sizes, which way do they kind of go?
This is going to be a cunning roll at disadvantage because this is a well-trodden area.
Oh man, okay. Can I tag my shrewd gaze for this one to try and make it a straight roll?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, straight roll.
Down on the floor, sniffing tracks, being a weird little bat creature.
Licking mud.
Licking
Yeah.
mud.
A 7. You taste the badger.
Disgusting.
I'm going to say that maybe there's like a fragment of fur on a bit of bush or something that's just you notice. And you actually grab it off the bush and it's still warm, which is how you know it's fresh, and that's the direction to go.
Oh, okay. Which direction?
Badger went this way.
Badger went that way? Oh no!
And
Yeehaw!
to clarify, the path is not straight, but is instead sort of like you're following it for a bit. It's a little bit meandering, and I think you realize around like here, you kind of orientate yourself, and you're like, oh, it's heading back towards my friends.
Mm-hmm.
It is at this point that we are going to go to Balthazar and Thistle. And also Hayden and the rest. So, we pick up when Pipistrel and Moina fly off to investigate what's ahead on the path. And there's sort of just like an awkward silence where Kier's just sort of like kicking dirt and looking around. Is there anything you guys want to talk to Kier about in this sort of like 10-minute silence?
I think Balthazar might just kind of friendly inquire about, why or whether they're heading to Summit for the winter. Where are they coming from? Just kind of general, like, small talk, just because he's curious about others.
So Kira is more than happy to just sort of like chat away. She says, "Oh well, my friends and I we might describe ourselves as roaming freelancers. We like to pick up work where we can, and I've got some family in Summit that we can stay with and maybe do some bits and bobs for the guilds. It's safe and warm, and that's what we really need." Kier sort of like pats a little pouch that's sort of like strapped over their chest and is like underneath like a little jacket or something, and says, "I've got a little letter of introduction that'll get me in past the queue, so I've got a space for sure."
I think Balthazar kind of considers this and says, do many folk traveling to Summit have these letters necessary?
Not everyone. Only family who live, or friends who live in the... Only residents of Summit can make a letter, and guilds are residents, so guilds can give them out to their workers as well. Could you make a willpower check for me, Balthazar? To kind of just shortcut, or tell me what kind of rapport you have with Kier.
So is it just a straight roll to see what kind of impression I make?
What kind of trusting aura do you give?
Okay, can I tag anything, or?
Yeah.
Because I have my unthreatening aura.
Oh yeah, roll with advantage for me. This is just to see what Kier thinks of you.
Yeah.
A critical success.
Very highly.
I feel like the shining armor and the sword, and you give off a almost like fabled aura. You're clearly not the average person, and so Kier doesn't really think anything of this and says it very offhand and says, "Oh well, technically the letters mean that you have to come in for a purpose and then leave, normally within a week or two. We're just gonna go in, do some work, and we might have a permanent invitation, or we might just nestle away somewhere unseen. It'll be fine."
Summit is as safe a place as it is fabled to be. They shouldn't have any trouble with any guests that otherwise... No, actually, I wouldn't say overstay their welcome, because that's rude. He'd just say, I'm sure they wouldn't have any problem with that. I've never been to Summit myself, but it sounds like a good place. And
Kier sort of says, "Oh, Summit is massive. The gates are as big as a bear, and there's plenty of space for good folk like little old me, and I'm sure the more the merrier is a good maxim, so to speak, for Summit. It's a place where people come and meet and do business, and it's a good place. This is my fifth winter in Summit."
Oh, sounds like it's been treating you very well, if it's a place to return to. Do say, though, these these bandits that you saw on the road, if this is the 5th year of you coming here, is this a common occurrence of beasts trying to seize the goods or lives of others who hope to stay at Summit?
She folds her arms, but not in like a defensive way, but just sort of like in a self-comforting way. She kind of looks to the side and says, well, this is the first time I've ever had a bandit on the road. The high road has never really been what I would call dangerous. I mean, there's beasts and there's behemoths and deer sometimes trample the road and sometimes there's a landslide, but never like this. The Crest Guard normally run them off if there's any trouble. To be honest, I'm surprised that there was a bandit on the road that we saw. I'd say maybe this is well, it's not the first time I've heard of bandits, but first time I've ever seen one.
Well, do you reckon that a letter such as the one that you possess would be something that they would want to seize for themselves? Or are they just preying out here beyond the reach of the guard?
She thinks a little bit, kind of scratches her little claws through a bit of tangled fur where there's a bit of mud or something and kind of teases it more clear. And after fiddling says, well, maybe one or the other. They might just be looking for a letter to get in. I don't know. Though I would say it's been a hard year for everybody, what with the boars and then the rain. There was a couple fires in the woods this year too. Things are a bit tight for everybody. Maybe they're just hungry.
Balthazar kind of nods.
I'm going to say, Balthazar, you might not be the most cunning individual, but you do have the tag prepare equipment or something like that, or like maintain equipment. And I'm going to say you noticed that Kier is traveling quite light. Kier doesn't have a big backpack full of like camping supplies and stuff. Kier seems pretty slim on what they're taking with them. And that might be an indicator of how lean recent times have been.
I think Balthazar will kind of pick up on this and say, so where are you traveling from? Towards Summit? Are you traveling from Shrewsbury, where your friends are?
Yes, we went ahead on the road to make sure everything was safe, because we'd heard rumours that there were bandits, and they were going to come up maybe half an hour later behind us, an hour or so. Though, it's mid-morning at this point, they should be here. Probably slept in. She sort of like glances down the road, a touch nervously. Yeah, we've come from Shrewsbury. We tend to meet in one or the other, the little villages round here, and then make our way over. This isn't the first time we've come to Summit for the winter together. I came through Wicker, and she sort of like points down towards the crossing lock, and you see there's a little glimmering sliver of the river kind of like shining in the morning light, and she kind of points in a direction. You can't see Wicker necessarily, but you know the general gist. And she says, well, I've come from Wicker and came up lock or down lock, I suppose, from, beyond, really. Where are you from? She kind of like realizes she's kind of talking a lot about her and doesn't want to be rude. She kind of goes, oh, where are you from? And what's a knight such as yourself doing this far? Well, I don't even know where you're from. She kind of laughs awkwardly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got most of it right. This far south. I am from quite far up north, from Loch Katrine. I am a knight of Blueberry Pond, and I suppose I'm finding myself on a bit of a journey investigating this and that, nightly things, nightly quests, and my companions, Pipistrel and Thistle here, he says, kind of inclining towards Thistle, are also finding themselves needing to get to Summit, so we have banded together on a merry adventure to see what can be done in this nook of the forest.
Here,
When Balthazar...
go ahead.
When Balthazar gestures at Thistle and says this merry adventure, Thistle is just like sitting there with his chin in his hand, just like waiting for this conversation to be over so they can continue on their way. This is a very annoying delay. The opposite of merry.
Yeah, yeah. I think Balthazar kind of sees Thistle and sort of... I know, he finds this kind of like the juxtaposition to his words sort of funny. And he'll say, "Oh, don't mind Thistle there. They are very task-driven, it seems. I think that our wait to get to Summit safely might be a welcome setback. But don't you worry, Thistle. I'm sure that Pipistrel will be back any moment now, letting us know what is ahead. After all, we want to get ourselves and Hayden there in one piece."
Hayden is poking at the ground with a stick, or like a stem of grass. A little bored, but also like doodling something. You look over and you can't really make it make sense to Hayden.
I'm sure it does.
But when you say his name, Hayden kind of looks up and goes, "Yes, hello, I'm here."
So you are.
And at this point, you hear the flipper-flap of a crossbill's wings, and then as like Moya half, not crashes, but sort of like skids onto the ground and kind of hops and then says, "There was blood on the road. We have to go now. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to wait. We should go back to Shrewsbury and get our friends."
At the notion of blood on the ground, Balthazar kind of just changes from like ha 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 to, you know,
ho ho ho.
Yeah. Ho, ho, ho. And is going to grab the what is it called? The handle of the. Can you remind me what the swords are called?
Flycatcher.
Flycatcher. There we go. Kind of in like this defensively, I'm ready to fight way. But he's gonna look around and say, "Where's Pipistrel?"
Moina sort of double takes and realizes that Pipistrel isn't with her, and she sort of goes, she was right behind me. She kind of glances into the sky and doesn't really seem to see anything or anything flying. She was right behind me. She was there. She saw the road.
I think Balthazar kind of, I don't know, he doesn't, he's not a suspicious person. He's not going to be like, "You assassinated her."
There's, I'm going to say, because you built a good rapport with Kier, you notice that Kier seems, like, concerned, and convincingly concerned, about, like, Moina's distress. And Moina is, because you also have an unthreatening aura, Moina doesn't seem to fit. How to phrase it? Moina is defensively babbling, as if to be like, "I didn't do it, it's not my fault." Almost assuming that you would then accuse her, if that makes sense. She's like, she was right behind me. I told her that this was bad, and I was going back, and I didn't do anything, and she was right there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Except I remember that Moina's voice is more like, "Oh yeah, she was right behind me," and rah, rah, rah. It's like that instead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's okay. Balthazar kind of, I think he just scans around, the sky and the grasses, and he says, "Well, we can't just, why don't you start retreating back down the road?" And he kind of turns to Thistle, and says, "We can't just leave Pipistrel."
This does get through to Thistle. They nod and they're like, "Yeah, we gotta get her, I guess. Which way she go?
Well, she went ahead down the road, but if she's not up in the sky, I don't... And he turns back to Moyna and says, "Are you sure you didn't see or hear anything? Did she not say anything? She's a very inquisitive person, but..."
Well, I came back right quick. I didn't hesitate at all. This is Moyna speaking, because Moyna has a grotty voice, I remember, sorry.
Yeah.
I just came right back. I just assumed that she'd be right behind me. And Moyna seems a bit at a loss, and then kind of defaults back to... Well, we're going. I'm sorry that she didn't follow. That's her own business. But Kier, we have to go. This is not a safe place. We shouldn't wait here anymore. I don't like this. We're too close to whatever happened there. Something was dragged off the road. It was...
Dragged off the road? But off the road? In what direction?
That way. And she kind of gestures with her wings, sort of like the vague notion of like that area of the... You know what I mean? She doesn't like... She's not like drawing a map, but she's like that, like to the right of the path. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Balthazar kind of narrows his eyes and says, kind of looking at the, grasses or these elements of nature that he can't really see beyond. He'll say, "Well, if these bandits are hiding in the grasses," and he turns with his like gleaming golden eyes at Moira and says, "Do you feel safe returning on your own, with your back turned to them?"
Could you repeat that, sorry?
Do you feel safe returning to Shrewsbury on your own, with your back turned to them?
To the bandits? I mean, if we move fast, we should be okay. Yes?
Balthazar kind of, because he's mostly at this point, like, wondering, on his knightly, like, honor, should he let these people go on their own? Because what if they are apprehended? But he also doesn't want to leave, like, just fuck off without Pipistrel.
Yeah. So, Thistle, I'd like you to make a cunning roll for me. I just Googled. Lizards have a great sense of smell.
Oh, good to know. Okay, let's do this. Cunning. Boop.
What did you get?
I got a 6.
I wasn't at a 6. A success. A breeze picks up and starts to rustle some of the grass. It's that purple line blowing towards you guys and down the hill, and you smell just a tinge of it, but a musky, sweaty fur of, and you recognize it. It's badger smell. Normally they're quite clean animals, but there have been times when you've passed through the forges or near the forges at Holdall, and you smell badgers in the middle of their work. You've had to deal with burns and stuff. You've been cooled down. You smell a badger nearby.
I think instinctively, all this talk of like bandits has got Thistle a little on edge, and they just like instinctively grab onto Balthazar's like tabard, to as like okay, well, whatever happens, I just have to stick near Balthazar, and I'll be all right. And they go, the badger? I think there's a badger?
I think Balthazar, Balthazar glances at them, and then at the, two others. Actually, no, we'll glance at Thistle and say, "What direction?"
They point to whatever direction the wind came from.
It's upwind, so it's sort of like confirming what Pipistrel has been following, the tracks of this badger that seems to be, for the audience, sniffing what it can smell as creatures somewhere in the brush, and seems to be following towards you guys.
I think Balthazar will kind of superimpose himself, maybe like unwittingly dragging this a little bit as they're hanging onto his tabard. Like between this upwind direction and the two travelers and Hayden. And he'll turn to them. He'll turn to Hayden and say, Hayden, retreat back down the road with Moina and I forget the name of the stoat. Can you remind me?
Here.
With Moina and Kier. It seems there's danger ahead.
Hayden, I want you to make a willpower roll for your relationship with Hayden.
Okay.
Because I've made my own notes, and not to spoil, but right, guys, right now, you guys are 1 for 1.
What do you mean?
I've been keeping track of where Hayden's loyalty is at, and
okay.
You're equal between loyal and disloyal.
Okay. I would like to tag my unexpectedly menacing as Balthazar kind of steps into this, like, knightly authority, and, just is doling out the, like, go here, you will stay safe, I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of assuming a leadership.
Make a willpower roll for me, with advantage.
8.
Okay, a 9. He nods and just does what you say.
Yeah.
He sort of like ushers wordlessly with like his good wing, Kier to follow, and they start like moving back down the road. Moina, the crossbill, is hopping along the ground and staying low and out of sight. And they all seem to be like shrinking down there, the size of them almost, if that makes sense. Like when animals are trying to stay out of the way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think Balthazar will look at Thistle and say, so you reckon if you can smell the badger, it is very likely that it can sense us, no?
Oh, yeah, probably. We are downwind.
Well, we don't want that badger heading for our companions. He kind of like referring to the other creatures. And we still don't know where Pipistrel is, so... And he turns towards the grasses and says, Hawk! Bandit!
Love that. There is rustling in the grass. You hear it. You can't really see it because the grass and the brush is in front of you. But there is rustling further away and then closer. Maybe like a very tense minute that feels like an hour passes. And then not far away, a silver and black head peers up and out. It slowly rises and it looks down at you. This badger starts to loom out of the brush where it's been tracking on all fours, and you notice there's flecks of like mud, and the front of its fur is like wet and slick to its front.
Thistle skitters back. This is not their game.
Yeah. Balthazar lets them.
Mm-hmm.
As he stands his ground, and he's not in like a I think he goes from kind of like a slightly crouched, like hand on the sword handle to a much more like confident, standing upright, like a not like I'm not afraid of you, but also not like I'm going to immediately attack you.
Yeah,
just kind of like a confident sort of.
There's an authority and a confidence in your stance that you.
Yes.
I feel like to some degree you're emulating, without really knowing it, the stances and the way that Lavinia and Bethany held themselves as commanders.
Yeah.
The badger looks at you and then kind of slowly looks over at Thistle, who's now back to the other side of the path, and then starts to stride with slow... It's difficult to say, like, there's a consistent, there's a power in the way they walk. It's moving towards you, sort of like a ship moves towards an iceberg, just slow and steady, and there's this like plodding
Towards
in the
Balthazar.
way that it moves. Towards you two, yes. The badger seems to grab something from its pouch, or from like its side that you can't really see, and then pauses. It gets towards the path, not quite onto it, but seems to have kind of like tread the grass to the side. You see that it has a large mace slung on a belt with a hook at one side. The mace is like wood, but with a metal end. It's wearing a hodgepodge of like half of a breastplate on its front, sort of pieces of bark along its arms. It's now walking on two legs, but it has sort of like joint protectors, like the forepaw, like elbows and the knees. And it's picking its teeth with something thin and pointy. Balthazar, you wouldn't recognize this, but Thistle, you would recognize that it's picking its teeth with a bone.
Ugh.
Or a piece of bone. The badger regards you two slowly, and then says, "This is a first."
Balthazar doesn't know what he's referring to, so simply regards the badger, and says, "We have heard of unrest ahead, of blood on the ground, and goods seized. Are you the one responsible for these things?"
Those some big words for frog. Yeah. If you're smart, you'll drop all the food you're carrying, and that shiny little sticker. And he kind of was referring to your sword. And you can go on. Or, you're dumb. I can always boil you.
I think Balthazar's brows kind of furrow angrily. Not at the, like, surrender your goods, but the fact that this guy's just straight up saying, like, I'll eat you. And, I think, he's quite, upset about that. And he says, "So you're very forthright with, how you have shed any veneer of civility, have you? Threatening to eat travelers?"
The badger sort of gives a guffaw. Sort of like a... Sure. That's all he says. He's just sort of like, yeah.
Yeah, he just doesn't care, yeah. I think Balthazar is almost kind of like, taken aback by how, like, forthright this guy is.
I'm going to say, actually, the badger... So, the badger seems to lean forwards with a paw on the mace and kind of pokes the bone at you and says, "If you're smart, you ain't gonna follow the other beasts into my belly. You're gonna play nice and move on so you can go play nice and in Summit, meet all your mates. No one has to get chomped on today."
I think, Balthazar... Well, actually, I wanted to ask, because Balthazar's kind of talking a lot, is Thistle's thinking or feeling anything right now? Because I know they don't like, clawlickers.
This is a horrifying situation. The prospect of being eaten by clawlicker. I think when the badger says that we give them food, we won't get eaten. Thistle's like, that sounds like a pretty good shout.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Balthazar kind of narrows his eyes a little bit and says, the beast whose blood you had spilled ahead. Did they strike a deal with you, or was what they offered not enough?
It took a demonstration. But they struck a deal, yeah. See, if everyone plays nice, they get to go on. And you know, I'm feeling pretty hungry. So are my friends. So, if you give us some breakfast, something to chop it up with, you can go on. I'm getting a bit tired of this discussion. Drop your stuff and pour it. And he kind of gestures with, like, a big claw up the road towards Summit.
Thistle scrabbles about in their bag and just tosses the pot of spiced moth protein powder on the floor.
Get those gains!
That's the only
Make him
food they've got.
stronger!
Mm-hmm.
There's just like a little tunk as the pot lands on the floor, probably near Balthazar's feet.
Yeah, I think Balthazar, I don't think he, when Thistle was like, that's a good shout out at the offer of sparing their lives, I don't think he quite heard that, or like didn't quite pay mind to it, and only now realizes that Thistle's like, yeah, I want to get away.
Yeah, I'd like to not die, thanks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You look back and you see that Thistle isn't like gung-ho with a knife out like, let's go, bitch.
Yeah.
I don't even have a knife. I have like surgical tools.
Oh god, yeah.
Actually, that being said, Thistle tosses their only food out on the floor and then like kind of shakily holds a little scalpel in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, okay, hang on. I have to like walk myself through this, because I think Balthazar is too right. Sorry.
Why don't I give you guys 5-10 minutes to think about it while we switch perspectives?
Yeah. Go for it.
Pipistrelle.
Hello.
You are creeping through the grass, following this trail when... Because bats also have a decent sense of smell, being not necessarily sighted creatures. If that makes sense. Like, you've got little beady eyes, but you're not like toad vision. You sort of...
I do not have toad vision.
Nobody has toad vision.
Make a cunning roll for me.
Is this just a straight roll, or can I tag anything?
Straight roll.
No worries.
Just for your beast senses.
Bugger!
Complication. You smell
I know.
the kind of the
Terrible.
thickness of the badger, of like the you smell like the badger scent as you're kind of following this path, because you've got their fur in one hand, you're moving along, and you smell a different scent.
Do I smell a toad? Do I smell a lizard?
You smell... The only familiarity is in the fur of it, in the kind of the sweat of it, but it's nowhere near as bad. You smell a cat, and you turn round instinctively, and you see, silently, moving and following behind you in the trail, is a ginger tabby, who's been walking on all fours and stalking as a cat does.
Oh no, I'm being stalked by a cat!
It's been
They
really
are,
fun having Pipistrelle on the show.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
They are... They're a tomcat. They've got that sort of like very typical broad, bulky head. You do recognize a little gauntness to them. Not nearly as bad as the grief of Charlotte, but
Pretty bad.
the beginnings of that hunger.
Okay. I think this might be
The
kind of
cat,
one of those...
you spin round, you see the cat,
Hmm.
the cat freezes, you freeze,
Yeah.
and then slowly they start to just give you a little sly smile.
Are they crouching down, like, pounce mode? Are they
Make
just,
a
or are they just standing
willpower
there?
check to read their intentions, but you have disadvantage because you're terrified.
Can I tag my, may I tag my shrewd gaze? Because while I do not have superior toad vision,
You do not.
I do not. I do have superior bat ears, and and she's a pretty good read of feelings, I think.
Sure, yeah, make a straight roll for me then.
Willpower roll, straight roll. Come on,
2.
game, please.
They're not gonna pounce on you. We're not sure, but like they haven't like crouched and about to leap at you. But also like you can't really read. You just know that they aren't gonna immediately like swipe at you.
Okay, so we're just kind of in this weird sort of standoff moment.
Yeah.
Where the acknowledgement is there, but neither one of us kind of know how to act, even though this cat is gonna kill me if I don't do something.
This cat looks at you and sees like your eyes. I think that's the complication here, is that like you read the cat's like body language, and the cat, you're like an open book to it.
Yep.
Or to them. So you see that the cat is not going to pounce on you, or is not about to pounce on you. And by seeing this, the cat almost slightly relaxes. There's like the tension leaves some of the muscles, and it starts to very slowly, and like silk gently blowing in the wind, move closer. And with a very low, quiet voice says, "Oh, hello.
Oh God, how close is the cat?
I haven't eaten in quite a while." The cat is moderately close. I'd say like it's a few steps away. And it stops, and it kind of like looks you up and down in the way that you'd look up like you might look at a piece of food.
Oh, for God's sake.
And the cat goes from looking at you to looking at you. Does that make sense? It kind of like meets your eyes and then says, "What are you doing all the way out here poking your little head into boxes that don't belong to you?"
Oh, okay. I need to pick my words very carefully. I think Pip would swallow and respond, "Well, what are you doing taking things that don't belong to you? Lives included."
Okay. The cat's smirk increases a fraction. And it just sort of steps one more step forward and says, "I don't think you're in the position to be asking questions.
Oh, God.
What are you doing out here? And why shouldn't I eat you?"
Oh.
It steps forward again.
She is like, she has so many ideas like running through her mind, and she is like desperately trying to figure out how best to get out of this situation. I think she's going to lie. She musters up any little stray amount of courage that she has, knowing that if she yells loud enough that hopefully Balthazar and Thistle will be able to hear her, but she's just going to lie and say, "If you kill me, the full force of Odok will rain down upon you and your friends."
Make a willpower roll for me.
Mm-hmm.
And you have disadvantage.
May I tag... Oh, okay, what can I tag that might actually be useful? May I tag my thirst to prove from my scout job? She's not exactly an adept liar, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and she is not willing to die today. Not like this. Not in the claws of a cat.
I'm gonna... Who are you proving yourself to by doing this?
She's proving this to... I think, actually, she's thinking about her friends. She's thinking about Balthazar. She's thinking about Thistle. She's thinking about how they're so close, and she doesn't want them to find her dead, or at least what's left of her.
Can I make a bit of a suggestion?
Hmm.
What if she sees in this cat line finder Flynn and is like, fuck you, because she did not get along with Kim, and she's like, I'm not gonna yield to another cat.
Yeah, honestly, that's very true. She's had bad experiences with cats.
Okay. I feel like I'm gonna give you advantage. I feel like the reasoning is a little weak, but I'm gonna go with it for now.
Okay. I'm allowed to roll with advantage.
I don't quite see where you're coming from, but you can have advantage.
Okay.
We respect showing you're working. Lol.
Come on, game. It doesn't even matter.
Not
Oh,
day.
you rolled 2 2s. The cat narrows its eyes just a little bit, but walks one step further. We're a long way from Odoak, little bat. Who's gonna find you?
She pauses.
I think it's at this point that you kind of hear, far off, further than you would have hoped, a little voice go, "Hark!
Oh, I hear
Stand and deliver!" Yeah.
Her ear does, her ear that's sort of closest to where the noise came from twitches. And I think she takes just a breath to see if the cat heard that as well. Before she answers. How close is the cat to me actually just now? Is it almost right in my face now?
It's within 2 steps. It's not at you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say its paws are in front of it because it's kind of on its all fours and coming towards you, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not at you, but it's close. That tension's ramping up, my friend.
Uh-huh, I know. Oh god. I have an idea.
Ooh,
This could
go
be
on.
This could be a really bad idea.
You fat roll and stab the cat.
So I it's are we standing in the mud right now? Is it really muddy?
You're in bog. So I wouldn't say it's muddy in the sense that it's been stepped on, but it's all soft and wet and yeah. It's wild right now.
It is wild. Okay, I'm just okay. What can I do? The only thing I can think of doing is throwing something in the cat's face into its eyes just long enough so I can
Pocket
fly
sand.
away. Pocket sand. Exactly. I don't think I have anything. I mean, I have my berry picking knife, but I'm not getting anywhere near that thing with a knife. What do you have? A knife? No. The only thing I can think of is, would it be possible for me to fling some of the boggy earth, the mossy ground, into the cat's face? And in the same
I want you to make
yeah.
This is a contest.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to use its cunning because it's trying to read what your intentions are all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to describe how you're making this plan in your head to see if it can tell if you're going to do that. Does that make sense?
Okay. So currently she's kind of standing on the ground. She's kind of crouched, not imminently about to fly kind of crouch. But she is low to the ground, and with her little front bat claws, like the two kind of digits that she has, she could just very subtly kind of like dig them into the earth, and then
so like a back spring, like use your claws to fling it up, and then your wings to balance you. Okay.
Exactly, and then just like basically she'll just tumble over in the air, but hopefully it'll give her just enough time that she can get in the air and get away from the cat and head back towards the hark.
Okay. Make a cunning or willpower roll. It's kind of disguising your emotions, and it's kind of being aware of your surroundings. So you can make either one, but it's just a straight roll because it's a contest.
Okay. I'm gonna go with my cunning because it's.
Oh,
are you serious? Are you serious?
So you got to roll a 9 or a 10.
Oh no! Oh.
You like your eye twitches towards the ground.
Right, DM, quick question. How does the auto pass work in a situation like this?
I would say it would let Pip just win. Pip would win the contest.
So I will say that as the cat is looking at Pip, it also hears the "hawk" in a distance, and for a moment, its eyes
eyes flick up while, like, at the same time, the cat looks up.
I will use
Pip
my
looks down.
other.
Okay, yeah. Use your auto other from the other session. Mark it off on your character sheet. You form the plan, and the cat looks down. And it says, "Looks like we have company. Friends of yours?"
Okay. I think she is gonna look that cat straight in the face and say, "Yes." And then she's gonna throw dirt in his face and fly away.
Run! Okay, so again, another contest. It's gonna use its vigor for its reflexes.
Okay.
Of just like a bodily reaction to having something thrown at it. It sounds like you're gonna do a cunning roll.
Yep.
Make a cunning roll for me. The cat has rolled, oh god, an 8.
Oh my god! This is the worst. Oh, please, 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 roll 20, please.
Pipistrel.
9. You fling up like, it's kind of like you grab a root and there's a heart palpitation where you're like, oh, it's only a root, and then it flings up like this bit of like muck and dirt and moss, and it goes splat right into the cat's face, which means that as you whirl and start to flap into the air, you hear the cat go, oh, gross, and you just kind of start to look back, and it's sort of like pouring the mud off its face, and it looks up, and you've already started flying away.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
Why do I keep getting myself into these situations?
It is at this point, Thistle. Balthazar. Thistle, you get out this pot of protein powder, and you sort of roll it out, and it's rolling towards the badger. The badger sort of looks down on it, quirks an eyebrow, looks up at you, and then Pipistrel, wings and kind of like chaos just tumbles out of the grass into the road.
Oops, I'm here now.
Does the badger react? Like what?
What does the badger do? Yeah.
The badger, I feel, grabs its mace out of like startlement, like draws its mace, but sort of like sidesteps, like what the hell? Literally, what the bat out of hell? And kind of staggers to the back. Balthazar and Thistle, there is a moment of like the distraction of Pipistrel, and the badger is not looking at either of you. Is there anything you want to do or try to do to change the situation or the dynamic here?
I think, in all honesty, Thistle's going to take this opportunity to, like, bounce.
Yeah.
If there's, like, a rock nearby, that rock is now my home, and I'm going to go there.
Make a cunning roll for me.
Can I tag anything?
Yeah.
Alright, I don't have anything to tag.
I'm Rock, your new
What about
ability.
cooperative spirit? Because I'm using this opportunity of Pipistrel being a distraction to
Hell yeah.
I'd allow it, but also in the future,
Yeah.
if there's a new skill that you want to start training, let me know and we can start getting you some points in that.
Okay, I have a little idea. I'll talk to you about it later.
Talk about it later. But roll with advantage. You are working together to further your own goals.
Thank you, Pipistrel.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Pip crashes through the grass. Balthazar, you glance at Pipistrel. She sort of rolls to where Thistle was. Thistle's bag is still there, but Thistle has vanished.
Okay. Thistle turned into Pipistrel.
You see, like, the very faint, tiny edge of a tail zip, into, like, a bit of moss.
Okay.
Into a clump of, like, that squidgy stuff.
Okay, so, okay, so Thistle's safe. Pip is here, awesome. The Badger is still there, he's startled. I think, fuck. I think it's not in Balthazar's nature to be like, alright, let's bounce! Because this is like an injustice that's happening here. He doesn't know about the cat or anything. So he, okay, Pipistrel is here, good. But I think he just continues kind of standing his ground and it's like, okay, well, Thistle got out of danger, that's good. But Pip is still, I don't know what's going on there. She just tumbled out. Is she, like, on the ground and stuff? Or is she fine? Is she ready to go?
She's fine. I'm like, there's the drama of, like, Pip entering the scene rather than, like, a disadvantage. Pip is here.
Okay, cool. So I think, fuck, because Balthazar just can't let this go. He can't be like, oh, okay, well, keep robbing people. I don't care about my life, or I don't care about other lives.
I think while like in this moment of like just shock, suddenly the Badger's like, there's a bat here, and Thistle running under the rock, and like Balthazar kind of standing his ground. I think Pip would take this moment, just like what she's kind of rolled back onto her front. She's gonna crawl very quickly across the floor, to Balthazar. She's gonna like climb on his back again and just kind of rapidly just whisper to him like, the Badger is not alone. We need to go. Like they're both massive animals. I don't know how well we're gonna be able to do against two of them. One, sure, not two.
Well, I mean, look, Balthazar has played Shadow of the Colossus. He has to just climb on them and stab them in their weak spot.
Fair.
It's easy. Elementary Pipistrel. I think, fuck. Shit! Because, I don't know, because the Badger's gonna pursue if you don't give him her shit. And there's also now an angry cat.
Mud in its face.
Yeah.
You guys are welcome, by the way.
I'm going to flip a coin. I'm gonna do a 1d2.
Yeah.
And 1 is righteousness, and 2 is survival. Did it go?
Oh.
Survival.
Oh,
okay.
God.
I think, the notion of reinforcements is troubling. He doesn't know what it is, but he assumes it might be more badgers. And I think, Balthazar is going to, maybe use this moment from the badger's confusion to, are we uphill right now? Or, like, if we go back, is that downhill?
Going back is downhill, going forward is uphill.
Okay, Pipistrel, are you ready to run on Balthazar like he's a barrel rolling down a fucking hill?
100%.
Alrighty! Balthazar, oh god. Because what I would ideally like to happen is for Balthazar to grab the Thistle and kind of cradle them in his arms, go into, like, rolling mode, and roll down the hill with them.
My god.
I love that.
But I don't know what I need to do to make that happen.
So, I need you to make a... You're gonna hate me.
I'm gonna hate you.
You're gonna hate me. I need you to make a cunning roll for me.
Okay.
Is this cunning?
Yeah, isn't this more like survival instinct? Isn't this
like
bigger?
It's awareness of your surroundings to grab Thistle. Because I don't think Thistle's gonna want to be found.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I'm gonna
get,
try
grab by the tail.
Yeah.
Well. Oh god, because an even better way actually to transport Thistle without Thistle being hurt is to just grab them in his mouth, in his giant toad mouth.
Oh my god.
Because then they'll be safe.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't think Thistle would fit. You're not that big yet.
Well, but Thistle's like a thin little noodle. Can I not tie them in a pretzel and...
Yes, but with irrevocable trauma.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever recover from that one.
Alright, I'm gonna make a cunning roll to
You hit a bump in the road and you swallow Thistle. Thistle's dead.
Oh my god.
Okay, that's actually terrifying. Alright. I will, to aid my cunning roll, I would like to tag something. I am going to tag, poor foresight. No, that's a flaw. I am going to tag, beetle handling. Because, sometimes, like, you would be, surprised how, wiggly, beetle larvae are, and you'd have to, like, jump after them and be like, no, don't fall off of that! So kind of using that, like, I'm jumping for a wiggly little guy, instinct. Balthazar is gonna try and kind of, like, fat roll
I
into...
can feel this.
Yeah.
To enhance that, I also feel that, like, maybe you've got really good reflexes in the sense of, like, just seeing a little noodly thing, as in, like, toads eating bugs. So you're just really good at, like, if you don't think about it, just grab the tail and go. So I want you to make a cunning roll with advantage.
No! Unless someone...
I have an auto other. I would like to use it now, please.
Okay, yeah. Mark it off on your character sheet. Thistle.
Can I confirm? Are you grabbing my tail?
I'm just
Oh god!
Because I don't want to detach it. I'm just grabbing, like, I lunge after the quick-moving tail, find you in the moss, and just envelop you in my strong arms.
Okay.
Because I know that those come off. I'm not.
This will start screaming.
Oh god. Oh,
So,
no.
so this is how this works. This is how it works out. Rewinding time, 15 seconds. Thistle, you dive into this large, wet clump of moss. And here, you're safe. And then you look up. You kind of look around you in a tiny little hollow. It's kind of like a weird space to kind of cram yourself into to be all wet. You're now soaking wet. With this sort of like wet, and it's kind of slightly numbing sensation. Sort of like if you get menthol on your skin, like it's kind of wet and cold and muddy. But at least you're safe. And then you look up and you see two tiny pinprick glimmering eyes looking at you. Either side of a beak.
Oh.
You can't really tell much else of the features of this little bird. But they're in this moss clump with you. And they say, good. On the count of 3, we're going to ambush them. We're going to get that badger. 3, 2, and as they get to 2, Balthazar's arms wrap around you. You think it's the badger. The badger grabs you. You start screaming.
Oh my
Great
god.
scream. And then you roll And then you are... The world, it's less that you are rolling, but just the sheer sense of sensation. The sky rotates rapidly. The ground rotates where the sky was. And you're like... Woo, 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 woo. And Balthazar, you are rolling down the hill with Pipistrelle sort of like half running, half flapping on top of you.
These are sacred Mud Fury maneuvers here. This is ancient bloodline technique of the Mud Furies.
I feel like this looks... like when you get into a fight in Dark Souls with an enemy and you're like, oh, I don't know how to deal with you. And so you just start backwards rolling to the save point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just like...
fire down there.
I want Balthazar, I'm just going to roll a d6.
Sure.
No, a
I
d12.
accept my fate.
3. I'm going to go to your character sheet. At some point in the rolling process, the smoked minnow stakes in your carried items are lost. They get muddy or are smushed. But either way, they're gone.
That is so tragic.
The cost of fleeing. You hear first confusion, then laughing from behind you of this badger cackling at you just rolling downhill. And the laughter fades as you just away. There is... Hang on. There is sort of who the hell is that? As you pass and realize you're passing Hayden and Moina and Hayden, Moina and Keir. At which point the ball crumbles and you tumble down and fall apart.
Yeah,
and
I feel he's can I roll like willpower to see if I can like go into like a cool kind of, you know, in anime when someone like blocks a hit but gets like pushed back and they're like but like still standing. I want to see if I can like do a cool kind of just straight roll to see if I can succeed at being
Oh.
I feel like you sort of like how people do like water gymnastics. You roll and you stand up and you have like Thistle in your hands, and Thistle somehow Pipistrello's perched on top of you on your shoulders, and for a moment you all stand in like a tower and then you all fall over.
I think Thistle thinks they're dead now. Like being grabbed
You're so
and
like
then
the world is
wildly.
still rotating.
Yeah, I'm in a stomach.
Yeah.
Thistle thinks they're elsewhere now.
Yeah.
Balthazar, I think after like if we all fall apart, he's going to kind of get up first and then grab Pip and then grab Thistle and kind of like right them up, you know, like pick them up and kind of on their feet and put them back down.
You pick them up and they sort of like spin a little bit and then swoon and fall over again. It takes you guys like a few seconds to kind of let the fluids in your various animal ears settle before you can really manage yourselves. But you do get up, and I feel like Hayden and Keir and Moira come over and help you as well. You look around and you realize you are a fair bit back, and they seem out of breath as well. They've been running to get away from the encounter, so to speak, and they sort of reconvene. Keir's the first one to really speak intelligible words beyond like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" and stuff like that. Keir says, "Oh, thank goodness you're okay. You got away from the beasts then?"
I think Balthazar's still like his eyes aren't focusing on Keir, but he's talking at the sound of them because he's still a little dizzy. But he says, some part of me feels I should have stood our ground, but between Pipistrel and Thistle's safety, I evasive maneuvers.
I think at the sound of Thistle's name, they go like very blearily. They're like, "Yeah, you're right."
Oh.
Are you all right? You turn into Pipistrel. No, you just disappeared, and we haven't discussed this technique yet, but it was a resounding success.
Yeah. They're not here. They're not here mentally.
Pip is like curled into like a little bat ball on the ground, and then she kind of like rolls over onto her back and just spreads her wings out on the floor, and you can see her eyes like moving, like trying to focus on a cloud, and it's just not working.
You make a little mud angel.
Oh, being a little mud angel. That's cute.
So-
Sure, how many... we have to keep moving. How many reinforcements did this badger have?
Cat. More? Maybe, definitely cat. One more. I don't know. She's like...
Moina kind of pipes in and says, I saw a frog as well when I saw him a few hours ago. If you saw a badger and a cat, then that means there's a frog too. I put seeds on it.
A noble cousin aiding these fiends. That's I just forgot my character's name. Balthazar kind of is like muttering to himself about like a lack of honor and how dare a noble cousin do this. Kira
and Moina kind of help you guys up as does Hayden and continues to usher you guys back down the path. I'm going to say you guys, they're going to keep moving. Do you follow them?
Are they heading back to Shrewsbury?
They're heading back to, not necessarily all the way to Shrewsbury, but to sort of like a joining part of the path. I'd say like, I'm going to do a little dot on the map because it's very cute. It's going to be pink. They're going to head back to like here-ish. Where you can see Shrewsbury. Because imagine there's like a little like shortcut between Shrewsbury and Summit, and Shrewsbury and Grinder's Nest and other parts of the Bristley Woods. Like there's a path they know there, and they're heading back that way.
I think just as initially Balthazar's going to be like following them because he's still kind of getting back to himself, but then he says, "But if we can reconvene in Shrewsbury, or we need to band more beasts together. This cannot continue. That badger was not only armored and armed with weapons, but willing to eat other beasts and admitting to it so freely. It is unthinkable."
Kier looks sad, but not shocked. Neither is Moina. I agree. We should. We've 3 friends. Ollie and Graham and Morag. They'll join us. I think if we just head back along the road, we'll eventually, make the difference. Whenever they set out, if they have set out, if they haven't, I'm gonna box their ears. But a group that large, if we make a side path through the wilds, far away from these beasts, we should be safe on the way to Summit. Would you want to travel together?
Balthazar, he's kind of shaking his head and says, "We have to organize a group of warriors, of knights, make sure that these brigands aren't harassing more people. We were lucky today, but others might not be as lucky as we were."
Kier looks over your shoulder, Balthazar, at, I'm going to say like Pipistrelle and Thistle, sort of sympathetically. I don't think Balthazar with the low cunning and also like you're in your tirade would notice, but like Kier is looking at you, Pipistrelle and Thistle, to sort of help explain or intervene here.
Oh, okay. I think Pip is
she sort of like shrugs her little stout shoulders.
Yeah, I think Pip kind of is like listening to the conversation. She's closed her eyes, but she sort of like rolls over and like crawls up to Balthazar in the middle of his tirade and says, "My dear friend, we are no warriors." And she sort of gestures to herself and then also to Thistle. Yes, these beasts are wrong, and it's not. They shouldn't be stealing and attacking and killing other beasts. It's abhorrent. It's awful. But the best thing we can do is just avoid them. We can't. What else could we 3 really do?
When Pipistrelle kind of said we're no warriors and gestured at herself and Thistle, kind of Balthazar sort of puffs out his chest a little bit and says, "Oh, you are not no warriors, but I am. I'm a knight. This is what I meant to do. I mean, with all that much fury, business as well. I know that we must go to Summit at all costs, but I already turned my gaze away from Grinder's Nest and whatever was happening with Fatna, but this is something that nobody agreed to, and these are tyrants, fiends. I should have stood my ground. Because if beasts like you can't do anything about it, that's why there's beasts like me, like us. I think when he says us, he kind of like pats his armor, kind of.
As in like
implying
us
like
toad
knights, warriors. Yeah.
I think because I want to advance the story just a touch. You guys are now moving and having this discussion, and it's at this point you're like further down the road. You are now significantly away from the badger. They're not going to catch up to you or something like that. But it's at this point that you see, you hear faintly downhill, you hear like 3 animals just kind of like laughing and jibing at each other and having a great time, and you notice a weasel, a little dipper, which is a bird that fishes, and a field mouse who is riding on the weasel's shoulders, sort of just like laughing and joking, and the dipper is like flapping in the air and trying to push the mouse off of the weasel's shoulders, and the weasel's like and sort of like snaking around.
That's really sweet.
And Keir, without thinking, runs over and is like, "Where the hell have you been? Oh, God, there's a badger. It tried to eat us. It was terrifying. You're hours late." And then they're all like, whoa, calm down. Jeez, we had breakfast. There was pancakes. What is wrong with you? And they then are caught up on the situation. And these appear to be Ollie, Graham, and Morag, who should have been here earlier.
Oh dear. I mean, wait, where are we on the path right now?
The pink cross.
Oh, the pink cross, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think sort of Pip would like side-eye Thistle and Balthazar and just say, like, should we not just warn them that this road isn't safe? Maybe they should just all just go back.
Yeah. I mean, they know that. They're gonna cut through. And they asked if we want to go with them.
I suppose. Well, I guess maybe safety in numbers kind of thing. I don't know.
Thistles just sort of shakes their heads up. Whatever way's fastest, let's just go. Let's just get on with it. We've wasted enough time today.
I think Balthazar is still just kind of in his head about like, he thinks that he should have. Well, actually, no, because he could. Like, he's like, oh, I couldn't stay behind and fight because people like, you know, not everybody's fighting, but also, what do? I don't know. He's Italian now. But yeah, he thinks for a moment and says, surely there will be someone in Summit. Yes, I can. The guards. I can solicit the aid of the guards, and we can. Maybe they just don't know. Yes, if Kier's friends are headed to Summit, they'll probably need aid anyway. Nobody knows. The folk in Grinder's Nest did say that cutting through the wilderness can be perilous. I suppose.
Moina, I think, has kind of slid up, or is still near you guys, where Kier has gone down the road and is sort of like, maybe like 30 paces away, sort of like kind of catching them up, and first yelling at them and admonishing them, and then catching them up, and then being like, it's okay, man, I wish I had pancakes. You didn't bring any? Oh, what the fuck, guys? Like,
yeah.
Is kind of catching them up, and Moina's just kind of like quietly says, well, with Graham, kind of points with a wing to the dipper, and me and you, Pip, more than enough to watch out and help divert the rest of the leg folk back towards a better route. We should be safe if we go to Summit together, and I would appreciate having you there. Honestly, if we'd just been waiting there, that badger would have gone up on us, and we wouldn't have had anyone to help us if you weren't there. So, I'm thankful for the help, even if you didn't fight them. And Moina seems a little doesn't like the to talk about that of animals killing animals, but kind of nods and says, "We can go get the guards, the crest guard. They meant to be patrolling these roads."
Well, you see, Balthazar, we can. There's always another way to make this place safer. And she'll smile at Moina and say, "We would be delighted to accompany you the rest of the way to Summit. We need to go there anyway." And she sort of like smiles bracingly at Thistle as well.
Thistle nods and right. Well, let's go. We've got to get, and I've had it up to here with the antics today.
Oh.
So, I guess the question, putting a vote to the group, do you travel on your own? Or do you travel with the freelancers?
I think with the freelancers, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Safety in numbers. We have more flying folk as well to help.
And we have good rapport with them.
Mm-hmm.
Got a horde that we're traveling with now.
Yeah, God, so many beasties.
So, with the freelancers, whose route I'm marking in pink, you go off the road and follow along, or follow upstream towards the high road leading towards Summit. For the sake of moving the story on, ready for our next session, the night of your second day and the day and most of the afternoon of your third day find you safely to Summit. You see more and more signs of beasts on the road once you rejoin the high road, to the point where you see camps with tents, first sparse, and then wagons by the side of the road. It seems to be people waiting for other folks to arrive. A lot of people and a lot of vehicles pointed towards Summit and not away from it. Eventually, you crest the hill and you see Summit itself. It is a massive granite block, almost, emerging out of this marshy hill, kind of belying the kind of stone and terrain underneath this muddy bog. Summit has 3 large carved gates, each with an iron portcullis, currently raised. The gates are huge, big enough for a bear to fit in. Alongside this stony outcrop, an old tree has grown out of one of the cracks, and in its branches is built a large wooden house. Not house, but more like a wooden keep. It doesn't have walls, and it's not a gatehouse, but it's long and tall, and you get a good view of most of the hillside from it. And you notice birds in regalia flying in and out of it and kind of patrolling along its balconies.
Cool.
Behind it, on top of the rocky outcrop, is a stone tower where similarly small dots of colour of birds coming into land, going to the top of the tower, looking at things, and a fire burns. And a queue hundreds of beasts long winds its way towards the 3 gates. It is at this point that we are going to end today's session.
That was so
Everyone's
intense.
really quiet.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, because I'm
That was an action-packed adventure.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to declare that if Pip hadn't fallen into that scene in that moment and Thistle didn't hide, what Balthazar was gonna do was, with that Badger being like, no, why don't you give me that stick? Balthazar was gonna like brandish the sword and just say, come and get it, and get into the fight. But it was literally that moment of his friends kind of, or his companions, one hiding and the other being like, we have to go, that I needed to flip that coin and be like, is he gonna be righteous, or is he going to I guess essentially like, go for the greater good or for the good of his friends, if that makes sense. Which I think
I feel like Balthazar would always go for the greater good, but it's deciding what that greater good is.
Yeah, because well, to me it's the pursuit of like ideal versus what is needed in the moment, almost. So like, it was like the ideal is to vanquish those that are, doing wrong. But also he was in a situation where it would have probably been like, a 1v big one or a 1v2 as far as he knew. And he was accompanied by two beasts that either won't fight or are not as apt as fighting. So it's really a foolish pursuit, but it is the greater good that he seeks, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
that was, you didn't know if it was going to be like a Smaug and Ornstein moment,
A what?
Smaug and Ornstein, like the double boss in Dark Souls.
Oh, right. I did not know that's how you say their names. I always thought
Is it?
Ornstein.
I don't know either.
Because it looks like a German name, so I'm like, Ornstein.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, I didn't know what to do, so the coin flip just kind of helped. And I'm glad we got to have a hilarious roll down. New technique acquired.
New technique acquired. Party roll.
Battle maneuver.
I feel I need to start doing like a new skill called something like something to do with how round he is, like friend shaped, something like that.
Oh, boy.
His shape.
Oh boy.
Yeah, his shape comes in handy.
I feel like I need to do something with Pipistrel, like deceptive or like,
She's done a lot of lying this season.
I was gonna say, like, she's becoming
liar,
a
liar, pants on fire.
liar, wings on fire.
Yeah.
Liar, pants on fire.
She has to run away from the consequences of her actions.
Bad.
So, I feel like avoid as a keyword for that skill would be really fun. But yeah, explore that.
Avoiding.
I'd say, for Balthazar, you have 3 skills that you are currently training. So you could train a 4th skill. You don't have to just do 3. But if you finish a 3rd skill, you get a new job. Fun. So,
I haven't done my power probe. But I'll start, I'll do start training. Just put 0 out of 3 for round boy.
And as a like the vices and the virtues and the where you guys are at, I feel like we've ended a significant scene. We're starting a new scene with Summit. How do you guys feel you've been acting? Do you feel you've been acting vice in the moment, immediate result? Do you feel you've been acting balanced, considering your options and going with what seems appropriate to the time? Or do you feel you've been virtue, thinking only of others, only of a larger situation, removing yourself and your wants and following a greater need? We'll start with Pipistrel.
Ooh, put me on the spot.
Do we not have a card for this one?
Yeah, I was going to say, do we have a fortune card?
Do we have a card?
Card?
Somewhere. I can remember. Maybe it's in Grinder's Nest. No. That was... I don't know.
Well, I mean, if we don't, like, that's fine, because I think I have a kind of... I have a vague idea of where Pip probably would have landed.
I don't think we did a scene, so to speak. But if you want a card, I will give you a card.
Thank you.
To help organise thoughts. Here it is. You can't even steal it from me, you foul thieves. Instead... Oh, someone's moving it.
I have it now. It's mine.
Discipline. Ooh. Fun.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's flashing.
The virtues of discipline are dignity. They are a just, communicate, control, follow, hold, level, poise, resolve, respect, serve, and steady. And the vices of discipline are gluttony. They are appease, complete, exceed, excite, feed, fulfill, gratify, indulge, quench, satiate, and satisfy.
I think with this particular card in mind, I would say that I think Pipistrelle may have stayed in virtue. Because although she is a naughty little liar, it was lies to try and... It was to get herself out of trouble, but she did it because she was trying to be helpful and, going forward and seeing what was going on, like with the drag marks on the floor and stuff. And then as soon as she realized that the badger, or the badger that was heading basically back towards her friends, she dropped everything and was like, I must go back to my friends and make sure they're okay. And then she nearly got killed by a cat. And she lied to kind of get out of it, but she was doing it because she wanted to get back and warn them about there's more than one of them. Like, this is really dangerous. We need to go, kind of thing. So I think she stayed in virtue.
Nice. Well, I've added virtue to your character sheet, an auto other for you to use.
Thank you very
Balthazar,
much, sir.
How do you think you've acted the last couple sessions, and this one in particular?
So was that to me or to Eve?
Balthazar, you, sir.
Right. Yeah, sorry. I something cut out exactly for when you said my name. I think because I don't entirely remember everything leading up to this session or his particular behaviors and decisions. But I think I might be in the neutral ground because I think he was both, especially in that last encounter. The challenging an opponent was the vice aspect of discipline, kind of, and wanting and being in a funny way, even though the dignity is technically or virtue is technically the higher ideal. I think he was doing it for the sake of the ideals, or wanting to.
I see what you're saying. You were appeasing your sense of justice. You were indulging your knightly virtues.
But then he did end up choosing to not do that when in dignity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think he's kind of a little in between.
That makes sense, yeah. I have added balance. Ask narrator a question to your notes.
Yeah.
Ready. And then we've got Thistle. You did a fair amount of cool stuff. You were hiding in bushes. You met a mysterious bird who you may meet later.
Yeah, I forgot about that already. I wonder if it was it the crow, raven? What's the...
I'm not sure. You only saw a beak and eyes, beady eyes.
I'm going to have to say that Thistle was once again in vice. Trying at all turns to satisfy their own needs and wants, and not really doing much to group participate.
Yeah.
So definitely the vice for this one.
Okay. Well, there's some interesting positions, one of each. And we have an entire city to explore next episode. That'll be really fun.
Yay.
I've got some cool plans for Summit.
Awesome.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Well, that's it for now. We will see people next week. And goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye,